Good evening. Welcome to the Steel City Huddle podcast. I'm Leanne Lohman, joined as always by my partner, Zach Franciscus. And we are here tonight. We don't usually do a Saturday night show, but we're here to do a quick kind of show to preview the Steelers-Browns game that will be on tomorrow. So I think it's exciting. We talked a little bit preview-ish Tuesday on a regular show, but we can dive into it a little bit more tonight. So Zach, how are you doing?
I'm feeling it's AFC North football. I'm really more excited than I thought I would be about it. Like I really am.
Yeah, I feel the same way, and I'm glad that like all of our AFC North games aren't the last 6 weeks of the season or whatever it was last year. You know, like that, like that's all you're going to play at the end of the season. Because I mean, even look, I get it, like the competitiveness of the AFC North, the whatever the show is, they were Hard Knocks, like all that stuff. But that was like a lot of intensity, I think, to all be crammed in at once. And then on top of it, to have like the Eagles and the Chiefs and all of that is like your only break. I don't know. It felt like we just saw the Browns and now we're seeing them again. And we just saw the Ravens and now we're seeing them again. So I'm glad that they're a little bit more spread out this year. I think this will be an interesting game tomorrow. We talked on Tuesday about not playing down to the Browns, you know what I mean? And the fan base is quick and not necessarily wrong to say that, you know, sometimes the Steelers lose the games that they're supposed to win. And you only have to think back to last year in the snow in Cleveland when Russell Wilson dropped that game that he clearly should have won. And I mean, look, it wasn't all on Russ, so I'm not saying that. There was enough fame to go around in that game. But, you know, to lose that game, and I think that happens, you know, the Browns look at this game like, I hate to say it, but like their Super Bowl, you know what I mean? When their season's gone to shit like it is this year and they can beat the Steelers or they can beat the Ravens, that's a really big deal for them. So how are you feeling? Do you feel like the Steelers team coming off, you know, the win and the bye week and, you know, being pumped up from winning in Ireland, like they're going to come in and they're going to take this Browns team seriously? Or do you think that they'll play down to them?
I was worried that I would feel nothing but nervous and that, it's a trap game and all this. I'm feeling oddly confident. I think the chance for a trap game is a good challenge for this team because they're going to have to go up against it sometime. This is a Mike Tomlin game or all this kind of stuff. And hearing that all week, I don't care if you got mental fortitude or not, there's a chance it can get into your head. So I want to see how this locker room responds to everyone saying they should beat a team and how they should beat a team.
Yeah. I think that this is a game that, you know, like you shouldn't say it's so critical, right? But it does. I mean, it's more than it's just like a division game. It also feels like this team needs to be taken seriously. They need to show that they can beat the teams like this. Do you know what I mean? Like the teams like the Browns who are struggling. And I think the Browns very much feel like they have to prove themselves at some point. I mean, we've talked about them all season, like the wackiest quarterback room in the history of the world this year with Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, and you still got Deshaun Watson on there, even though he's not playing. And then you're going to get rid of Pickett and then start Flacco, and then he was terrible, and then you get rid of him, and then now you bring in Bailey Zappi to play, and you know to be like in competition with Shedeur Sanders for the QB2 position, I guess. I mean, the whole thing is wacky. So they're going to start this poor Dylan Gabriel kid. You know, he's played a little bit in the past week or so, and it'll be interesting to see because I just feel like the Steelers defense has got to like smell blood in the water, right? You've got this rookie. I mean, he's not even like a first round rookie. The poor kid is a third round pick, and I mean, I just feel like they're setting him up for failure. But I'm hoping that the Steelers defense is able to take advantage of that.
There's even more reason to feel positive about this. I was fully ready for Jalen Ramsey to be out for a long period of time. And every little bit of defense that this team gets back, I think we get Highsmith back. They are set up for this defense to feast. Because for anybody who thinks this is going to be a 28-0 game or something does not understand how good this Cleveland defense is. We're not going to escape with a win here. But a solid win here is probably like 14-0, 17-3, something like that in my head. That's what his stomping is in this game. This is a really good defense, one of the best in the NFL right now.
Yeah, the defense is remarkably good, and it's more than just Myles Garrett, but he's a big piece of that, and he comes into these games really hungry, which is understandable. And so, yeah, I think that this, our offensive line, which has struggled, I think that they have to be really careful that they don't look at this team and think, oh, it's the Browns, they're crappy, because you have to look at this defense in an entirely different way than you look at their offense. And really, and be very, very careful, because they're an opportunistic bunch. They're looking to prove themselves. They're looking to win some games on the back of their defense. And as a Steelers fan, like, we know that feeling. We've done that before a lot. Yep. So, they're in that same boat. So how do you think our offense will fare against this defense? And who do you think it will be like our heroes, and who do you think will struggle?
I'm gonna tell everyone right now, prepare to be upset at the offensive line. Like I said, if you tuned in on our show last week, I'm starting to get to a point where I'm like, you know what, this is not going to be an elite NFL offensive line. There's a lot of growing pains, a lot of stuff. So yeah, I have to deal with my expectations. But the key to this offense, weirdly enough, is going to be someone who won't be on the field. It's Arthur Smith. Can Arthur Smith come in and have a game plan ready with those struggles in mind, or will he, I don't want to say pull a Tomlin, but will he come in and say, I'm doing this based off a team I want to have rather than the team I do have? He has a struggling offensive line and a quarterback that can get the ball out quickly. That's your game plan right there. That's all of it. And if we see something else where he's determined to run the ball, which you're not going to be able to do a lot of against this Cleveland, this offense has to minimize turnovers, protect the quarterback, and move the ball. They can't protect the quarterback, so it's the other two. And the quicker that pass comes out, the better. That's the offensive key.
Yeah, because the run blocking is for shit. I mean, it's been awful. So unless something magical's happened, you know what I mean, over the bye week or whatever, I mean, they were really struggling to run block. And we talked about this on the last show that, we got really lucky. The runs, the yardage that they picked up was really mostly thanks to the running back, that had the ball at that time, Gainwell or Jaylen Warren when he was in. So, more than it was that the offensive line was setting them up for success. I think they have to be really careful to capitalize on those mistakes. They can't afford stupid penalties or mistakes. They can't make any mental errors. And I think that Tomlin's going to have to coach this game really mindfully and thoughtfully, not take a flyer on a fourth down and, and not pick it up and turn the ball over and give them good field position, whatever it is. I think he's got to be coaching a really tight game this time, because I think it'll be those things that make the difference. I think no matter what the score ends up being in this game, it's going to feel closer than whatever the score looks like. I think if we're going to win, but it's going to feel like we're getting away with one. And I said it on Tuesday's show. We talked about the offensive line, and I think, they're not this elite offensive line that we hope to see at this point, but they do seem to me like they're improving every week. And I feel like that's sort of like what we can ask for from this group, right? It's not fair to ask for them to be perfect right now, or one of the best lines in the league, because they haven't shown us that yet. But if they continue to work in the right direction, like I feel like we're at least can take that with us. So I hope that whatever happened during the bye helped to gel them a little bit more and get them more in lockstep and get them prepared. And your point about Arthur Smith, I felt like last year that was a big part of where he went wrong. Like, he coached the team he wanted to have. He coached what he thought he was going to get out of Russell Wilson or thought he was going to get out of Justin Fields. And that wasn't the team we had. And look, I don't know if some of that had to do with the injury to Russell Wilson that threw Justin Fields in, and maybe not knowing who was going to be quarterback, and that messed him up, or they didn't perform in the way he expected. But that's how it looked to me last year. And to me, so far this year, it seems like he's built an offense around the strengths of the guys he has, including Aaron Rodgers. And so, I think we really hope we see that tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. And throw your pride out the window, Arthur. You've seen what other teams do. Where's Myles Garrett? Oh, there he is. Run the other way. Don't try to be fancy. Don't try to scheme things up. Just run away from Myles Garrett all day long. That will irritate the fuck out of Myles Garrett. And just like it does to TJ. So if I see us trying to run into the strength of Cleveland's defense over and over, I'm going to be more upset than in general. So.
Yeah, and this offense, I think, too, they have to make sure they don't get in their head because, look, this defense is going to get them. Do you know what I mean? There's going to be some sacks. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of pressure, and they're going to have to make sure they don't let that upset them too much or get in their head too much. Who do you think could be like a unexpected hero out of this Browns game tomorrow, maybe on offense? Do you think there's somebody that might step up tomorrow that, on the field that we don't expect?
Unexpected. I think this would be a great Jonnu Smith game. He's really good at screens. He's really good at what like DK Metcalf is, going from nothing and accelerating up. And we're not going to be able to do a lot of runs. We're not going to be able to do a lot of long passes. So those screens, those bubble things, that's how we're going to be able to do it. And they all can't go to DK Metcalf.
Right.
So I really think, and a breakout game against the Browns is going to be like 50 yards and a touchdown. But that's what Jonnu Smith, I'm going to be watching him. And if everyone doesn't know 81 out there, just watch 81.
Yeah. I love that. I'm hoping, too, to see a little bit more Darnell Washington tomorrow. I think he presents a unique challenge against this defense. It would be really nice to see them get him a little bit more involved tomorrow. So let's talk a little bit about our defense in this kind of wacky Browns offense. I mean, look, there's just not a lot of film on Dillon Gabriel unless you're going to go back and watch what he did in college. You've got one game or something, or a game. I can't remember when he came in, a game and a half or something. It's not a lot. So what do you think the keys to success for this defense to be able to shut this offense down? Because you have to imagine they're going to come in and play like their ass is on fire, right? Like it doesn't matter, right? Like, you see the little tiny schools come play against Alabama and they're just like, we're going to do everything crazy because no one expects us to win. So why don't we at least try? So I expect some of that for them, is that we have to be prepared to defend that.
Oh, absolutely. The easiest way to win the game is to let Dillon Gabriel or whoever ends up under center do their thing and just kind of ignore them for a moment and shut the running game down. I think it's Judkins. Yeah, shut him down because he's, be very honest, the only offensive player the Browns have that even slightly scares me because he's a really, really good runner. I'm not really afraid of anyone on that Browns offense, but if you make this Browns offense one-dimensional and make Dillon Gabriel carry you against this defense, it's going to be a bloodbath.
I think we really need to see some of those guys step up, in a big way on defense. Those young guys that have been showing, Keanu Benton, that have been showing improvement. We've seen a lot from Nick Herbig. Zach and I were talking about Herbig briefly before the show started. So those of you that are watching, if you don't know, I work for PFSN as a writer and an editor. And every year PFSN comes out with like new tools. And this year, one of their tools is this impact metrics or matrix that looks at the position and determines the impact of that player on the game. So they've got it for offense, defense, but then they've also got it for all of the positions. So you can look up a player. So we were curious, the ongoing Myles Garrett, TJ Watt debate, right? And look, I'm not saying that this is any more reliable than PFF or anybody else's, right? So, but when you look at the edge rankings, they have Nick Bosa first and George Karlaftis, then Max Crosby, and then number 4 with an overall score of an A. What did I say? 93.9. The highest score Nick Bosa's is a 96.5 is Nick Herbig. So he ranked higher overall, above Myles Garrett, above TJ. He's up there 4th overall in the league right now, which is, I think, really interesting. TJ is right there on the cusp, almost at an A with a B. So he's ranked 11th overall so far this year for impact, which is interesting. But I feel like TJ's just warming up. But I think that this defense really has to bring the pressure tomorrow. I agree with you about making them one-dimensional. They don't have a ton of weapons, but I think that they're hungry and they want to prove themselves, and they're going to be willing to try anything and everything they can to win this game.
Yeah, and this is where Mike Tomlin's ability to get you to want to run through a wall is going to work, but that's where I need him to stop. Him and Terrell Austin don't try to make this newfangled defense that he's never seen before. Just play simple and play really mean, and you will get into Dylan Gabriel said, I don't want to see us outcoach ourselves. Because I know it's going to sound cliche, but really, to me, the only people that can beat the Steelers are the Steelers. The Browns should not have any chance to actually beat us. If we lose this game or whatever, knock on whatever, it's going to be because we look back and be like, man, we beat ourselves so often we lost chance. And it's not going to be, oh, the Browns really stepped up, huh?
Look, that was definitely the case last year in the snow, right? Look, I'm not going to ever take away from some other team that puts like a max effort out there. And the Browns last year in the snow definitely brought a different level of energy than we did to the game. Like, there's just no denying that. But really, we lost that game because we shot ourselves in the foot. We made mistakes. We made errors. We got arrogant or cocky or whatever you want to call it and blew it. So I think you're right. I think we have to make sure we aren't playing that kind of football tomorrow. And I think you have to just block out the other noise. Forget it's a division game. Forget where the standings are, forget what your record is, forget what their record is, and just focus on playing really clean football, not penalties and mistakes and everything else.
It's funny that you say penalties because one thing I'm looking at particularly, I don't know if anyone's noticed, but Joey Porter has been out for a little bit, and it's been really quiet in terms of flags thrown against that secondary. Like really clean. And if he comes back and those start to go up again, there's a conversation that needs to be had with him because that's going to kill us. It's the, offensive holding calls to bring a run back or a holding call against the defense that extends a drive or something like that. I'm going to be watching Joey Porter like a hawk to see what has he learned while he's had to sit, and will he mess up this kind of vibe that the defense has going.
Yeah. Is Porter supposed to be back this week? I know he's off the
he said he was good. I know he said he was good to go. I know the big thing was him and Alex Highsmith didn't have an injury designation.
Right.
Was the big thing. So I'm
off that report, but sometimes they say that, and the players always to me say they're ready to go, and that doesn't necessarily mean they're really ready to go. The other person I wanted to mention that I think that this defense really has to look out for is that David Njoku. I mean, that kid is playing really good football, and our defense has to find a way to help minimize the impact that he has, because he is what a talented player he is.
And I just, since I've started watching the Steelers, I hate watching Steelers play good tight ends. I don't know how these tight ends always find a way to chop us up. So what a great time to change that narrative. Just, learn. It's that it should be a fun game tomorrow. That should be the point for them and for us watching it.
Yeah, but you're good to God's ears, because they never seem to be very fun. They always seem to be like anxiety producing, and you sit at home and you've got like the bubble guts and you're worried the whole game till the clock finally ticks down to 0.
Yeah, I don't need another Ireland game. As fun as it was coming down to the end, I was ready for like a blowout, and I was going to be fine with that. I am fine with blowouts. If anyone thinks that, I am fine with them.
I said that all the time. Like, I love a good close game as long as it's not any of my teams that are playing. And then I just prefer that we just blow everybody out and I can just relax and enjoy watching us win.
And a win is going to be doubly sweet, because while things are imploding in the AFC North around us, we seem to be a little more focused than everyone else. We're like, okay, everything's on fire. We're fine, though. We're just walking forward. Every AFC North win is another little extra thing we're going to be happy about at the end of the season.
Yeah.
So that's how you get a game.
I think that's a really good point. And I think it all, like I said a minute ago about just focusing on what you've got to do and canceling out the outside noise and not, you can't start looking too far into the distance, right? We're only at week 6. Can't be looking too far into the distance. You have to be focused on one game at a time right now. But you're right. This is certainly not the AFC North that anybody thought we were going to see coming into this season. And for us, it's been a pleasant surprise. So, I don't expect, I said it Tuesday, I don't expect it will stay like this. I expect that the Ravens are going to recover and bounce back at some point. I expect something else from the Bengals when they get their act together. I mean, they're just talented teams, especially the Ravens. I just don't see them staying like this. So they'll bounce back. But, we need to just focus right now on getting ourselves as far ahead as we can to kind of solidify our place.
Absolutely. This is I cannot see anything pointing to anything other than a win. It's just what kind of win and what are we going to know about this team more. I want more answers. A little more answers and a win. That's what I want.
Yeah. And I think maybe this is the week we see that, right? It's coming off the bye, and it should give us some insight into what this team was doing and all of those things where their focus lays. So, all right, before we go, predictions. What is your score prediction, Zach?
I've been thinking about this the whole show because I realized I was going to be asked it. I'm gonna say 20-6.
26.
That seems like a solid victory. I can't go higher than 20. I've wanted to like 5 times in my head, but I can't justify it.
Yeah. All right. So I have had 25-15 in my head for some reason. The Browns always seem to be like weird scoring games. I feel like we'll be closed for a while and then we'll pull it out and score at the end to kind of to bring it to an end is how I'm hoping it works. So
I love it.
Yeah. So if you've joined us tonight for a quick prediction and game preview show, we really appreciate it. Do us a favor and like, share, and subscribe to the podcast. We will be back on Tuesday with our regular show. Drop us a note either in the comment section or on X, on either one of our X pages, and let us know your score prediction because we bring them back up on Tuesday's show, and then we can see who wound up the closest, which is usually never any of us, but we'll try. So let us know what you think. Let us know what your thoughts are going into this game, who you think the unsung hero or who you think the unexpected hero might be, or how you think our defense will fare against this strange Browns offense. We appreciate you joining us. Have a good night.
Leanne and Zach would like to thank you for tuning in to the Steel City Huddle podcast. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss a thing.